Hello there. You may be watching this after seeing my best and worst list of 2021, or you just found this video randomly. I don't know. I can't really dictate how content comes to you. Anyway, so I decided to talk about the fact that I've been doing best and worst lists since about 2009. And again, they're just a personal thing. They're just for fun. I do all this for fun. But I decided to this year I'm going to stop making my worst list. This will be the last year I do my worst of the year. And I think that is interesting, and I wanted to talk about this idea of negativity in film criticism or film analysis or just film culture in general. And I decided to do this unscripted because I feel this is more of a conversation than it is a lecture or whatever. So for future me, who is now editing all the ums and ahs out of this, all I can say is personally, fuck you. One of the things that I really noticed when I started getting into film and talking about film in a way is that negativity is fun. It was. It's a really good way of kind of getting across this bile and vigor and stuff like that. But it's one of those things where it has a very short shelf life. And it's one of those things where as you learn more about film, as I learned more about film anyway, it became more hard to justify me being really angry at a film for being bad. And I think a lot of that is because like films are very difficult. Like somebody once said that every film is a mini miracle. That like the fact that a film is made at all, that a film is like made, pushed out there for public consumption, whatever, that's actually an incredible achievement. The vast majority of films fail. Vast majority, there's nothing there. Who am I to who just sits on my arse and complains to judge all that effort? Like, regardless of whether you think it's something is good, it's way more effort than I've ever put in just ranting to a camera and editing afterwards, or writing something and sometimes editing after that. Like, it takes a lot. It takes a lot of talent, creativity, ambition, even if it fails. And it just becomes more difficult to justify you being aggro about it. And even then, there's the obvious thing where the whole thing with Anthony, was it Anton Ego from Ratatouille? Even the biggest sort of crap I've ever watched probably means more to somebody than anything I say ever will. So it becomes difficult to try to justify anger for its own sake. And I think that's distinctive. I will always talk about films that make me mad. I will always talk about films that I don't like, but I'd rather it have a point than just a generic list of this is why it is bad. Because this is why it is bad content becomes harder for me to get invested in as I get older. And it becomes harder for me to make, especially. I did a video about I Care a Lot, a film I don't really like, but because I had a lot to talk about, it was easier for me to try to get involved in it and be more analytical. Of my worst list, the films I would probably talk about more is that or Don't Look Up. And they're actually pretty low on the list comparatively. The other films I couldn't really give much about because that's the thing. Negativity doesn't stick with you because why would it? What's the point of getting angry at something probably won't mean much to you by the end of the day? And that's what becomes difficult about these lists to produce. I mean, I might do a video on Don't Look Up. I haven't decided yet because I need to work out how to do my setup, stuff like that. Anyway, that's way down the line. Even if I do it, my point is there's something in there that fascinates me enough to talk about. So it's not just I don't like it, it's this is why I don't like it. That's really interesting to me. Is there something I can do to extrapolate something a bit more profound, especially with the fact that a lot of people really like the film and it speaks to them? I think that's more interesting than if I just don't like a movie. Like I put a Billy Crystal comedy near the bottom of the list because again, it's just generic trash. Most of the stuff is generic trash. And what's the joy in talking about it when all I think of is, these people got together with even low budget films, and especially like that's another reason these become more difficult to talk about. I feel they just become more repetitive for no real value. Whereas even if I get repetitive in my best list, the whole point is that I'm recommending films to people, and that's where my interest lies. I want to recommend stuff to you, and I think that's interesting because negativity used to be such a huge selling point on YouTube with stuff like Nostalgia Critic, CinemaSin, stuff like that. If you like this stuff, that's fine. That's your own preference, but I find it harder to grasp on unless there's some kind of bigger point being made regarding it. And that's why movies that interest me are stuff that makes me think regardless of whether it's good or bad. And if I'm doing a list, I want it to be a list of like stuff I want people to see. I just don't see the point anymore in making a list of stuff I just dislike. Because again, of the films I did, only three of them I have like an actual hatred for, and that's the bottom three. Like I actually have find those films offensive on some level. But the rest of them, I don't really remember most of Reminiscence, if I'm being honest. I don't remember most of the other films because why would they stick with me? Why would they stay with you if you don't like them? That doesn't make sense to me. So yeah, this is just a short one. I just wanted to kind of go on a little rant about this whole thing. Is this a thing where it's a social trend that's moving away from focusing on the negative rather than the positive, or is it the result of maturation really on my own part? Or I mean, I don't know, maybe people older than me still get joy out of just people relentlessly shitting on something with no real rhyme or reason behind it. Maybe that is, maybe, if that's what interests you. But like for me, as I get older, I don't see the point in focusing so much on shit that makes you unhappy when I can put so much more effort and time into stuff that does, or stuff that I can get a serious thought analysis out of. So yeah, just let me know your thoughts. This is again a short one. It's a bit of a rambly one, but I think this topic's interesting, and I think that it says a lot about how we consume film analysis and how we produce it ourselves. Yay for negativity or nay for negativity? Like and subscribe for hard hitting content like this.